The time is precisely 1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Chandima Veerakorn. Headlines. COVID-19 strain responsible for current outbreak in Sri Lanka confirmed as UK variant. Punishment will be given for the people who violate quarantine rules. Chinese Defence Minister meets the President. Providing the second dose of COVID vaccination commences. Import of chemical fertilizer has been banned. The WHO unveils global immunization strategy to save 50 million lives by 2030. Local stories in detail. Dr. Chandima Jeevandara, Director of Allergy, Immunity and Cell Biology Unit of the Sri Jayewardenepura University says mutations specific to UK variant of SARS-CoV-2 B117 have been detected in Sri Lanka. The mutations were discovered in the samples obtained from Colombo, Burlesgamua and Kurunegala areas. This confirms that B117 is the currently circulating strain in Sri Lanka responsible for the ongoing massive outbreak, Dr. Jeevandara noted. He said the virus variant has been identified as rapidly spreading, and he also stated the variant is dangerous as it increases virus-related death rate to 55% while transmissibility to 50%. Police media spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana says that if any person proved as an offender by court violating the quarantine rules will be imprisoned for 6 months period and a fine of 10,000 rupees. Therefore, he requests the public to act according to the health guidelines. 145 persons have been taken into custody yesterday due to violating quarantine rules. More persons have been taken into custody from Monaragala, Trincomalee and Kalutara areas. At present, 3,900 persons have been taken into custody. Visiting Chinese Defence Minister General Wei Fenghe met President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today. He is scheduled to meet Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa this afternoon. The Information Department announced that he will leave the island tomorrow morning after a 2-day official visit. Specialist doctor of the Epidemiology Unit, Samita Ginige, says that the vaccination process for the second dose of the vaccine for the health employees has commenced this morning. Administering the first dose commenced on the 29th of January. He told the SLBC that the second dose of vaccination is being carried out. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with the local stories, the Minister of Agriculture, Mahindananda Aluggamage, says that cabinet approval has been received to the cabinet paper presented by the President to ban the usage of importation of chemical fertilizer, pesticides and weedicides. He said this ban will be implemented from the forthcoming Maha season. The number of kidney and cancer patients can be reduced by using organic fertilizer for cultivation purposes. President Rajapaksa said the measures will be taken to ensure that only organic fertilizer would be used in the agriculture sector in the country in future. Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena participated in joint video conference on involving COVID-19 responses with the participation of the foreign ministers of China, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Nepal and Pakistan. The discussion focused on strengthening cooperation to respond to the coronavirus and promoting post-pandemic economic recovery as well as eradicating poverty amid the recent rise in COVID-19 infection. To end the local news, the headlines again. COVID-19 strain responsible for current outbreak in Sri Lanka confirmed as UK variant. Punishment will be given for the people who violate quarantine rules. Chinese Defence Minister meets the President. Providing the second dose of COVID vaccination commences. Import of chemical fertilizer has been banned. That ends the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
On the main news story, Kottawa exit of Southern Expressway is expected to remain closed starting from 7 a.m. today until further notice. The decision was taken after 3 employees of the exit were tested positive for the novel coronavirus. Thereby, the motorists using the expressway are advised to use the Athurugiriya and Kahathuduwa exit points for the time being. However, buses and ambulances will be allowed to use the exit. Vehicles will be allowed to enter the expressway, but tickets will not be issued. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watch Light. The small coconut oil producers are facing many difficulties in the southern province due to increase of prices of copra. At present, 1 kilogram of copra is at 430 rupees. Accordingly, a price of coconut oil bottle is at 550 to 650 rupees. More than 200 households of coconut oil producers have been registered in the Coconut Development Authority. They request relevant authorities to provide a speedy solution. That ends Watch Light.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
the best discount in this Urdu season. People's Leasing Polybasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Urdu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Headlines of the world news. The WHO unveils global immunization strategy to save 50 million lives by 2030. US President Biden to sell historic spending plans in speech to Congress. Iran hints at progress in nuclear deal talks. A UN-led global immunization strategy was unveiled yesterday to reach more than 50 million children who have missed life-saving jabs against measles and other diseases because of COVID-19 disruption. WHO, along with UNICEF and the Vaccine Alliance, Gavi, said their new global strategy has been potential to save 50 million lives within less than a decade. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom said to avoid multiple outbreaks of life-threatening diseases like measles, yellow fever and diphtheria, it must be ensured that routine vaccination services are protected in every country in the world. President Joe Biden is expected to call for the most sweeping revamp of U.S. benefits since the 1960s as he delivers his first address to a joint session of Congress. Speaking on the eve of his 100th day in office, the Democrat will pitch $4 trillion of spending on childcare, education, and family leave. He already passed a $2 trillion COVID package. History will also be made as 2 women sit behind the president for the first time during a speech to Congress. A senior Iranian negotiator in talks to revive the 2015 nuclear deals has suggested progress has been made, hinting at a consensus on the removal of some U.S. sanctions against the country. Former U.S. President Donald Trump withdrew from the deal in 2018 and reimposed sanctions against Tehran. The administration of President Joe Biden hopes to rejoin the accord. The United States has been indirectly participating in the talks in Austria's capital, Vienna, through intermediaries, including the European Union, since early this month. To end the world news, the headlines again. WHO unveils global immunization strategy to save 50 million lives by 2030. US President Biden to sell historic spending plans in speech to Congress. Iran hints at progress in nuclear deal talks. That ends the world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
the best discount in this Urdu season. People's Leasing Polybasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Urdu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Moving on to development news. The Alpedia Basic Hospital is being developed. 147 million rupees has been spent to renovate official residences of doctors and wards. Providing electricity facilities for the eye treatment unit and pharmaceutical storage are being carried out. That ends the development news. We take a look at sports news next. Australia, India, New Zealand, Pakistan, South Africa, England and a nation from the Caribbean have all qualified for the women's event 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. Women's cricket will feature at the Games for the first time and cricket for the second time after a men's ODI competition which was staged in Kuala Lumpur in 1998, was won by South Africa. Alongside the host England, the other nations to qualify were determined based on the T21 rankings on April 1st, 2021. Former Sri Lanka fast bowler Nuwan Soisa has been banned for 6 years from all cricket for breaching 3 offences in the ICC Anti-Corruption Code. Zoisa has also been charged by the ICC on behalf of the Emirates Cricket Board, the ECB, for breaching 3 counts of the ECB Anti-Corruption Code for participants for the T20 League. Those proceedings are still ongoing. That ends sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
And on business news, special masks against the COVID virus produced by the Peradeniya University can be obtained through Satasa outlets at 200 rupees per mask. Measures will be taken to provide these masks to the defence sector and school children at a low price. Minister Bandara Gunawardena says that orders have been received from foreign countries in this regard. That ends the business news.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic News, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, 256 hours of new courses will be conducted for the self-employment ventures affiliated to the rural development societies in the North Central Province. These courses will be carried out by a panel of experts who have experience of more than 20 years. The objective of this program is to enhance the rural economy. That ends economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And finally, on the weather report, showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in central Sabaragamuwa, southern Uva, North Central and Eastern provinces and in Mullaitivu district during the evening or at night. A few showers may occur in western and southern coastal areas during the morning. Fairly heavy rainfalls above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in Sabaragamuwa, Uva and central provinces and in Galle and Matra districts. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. That ends the weather report. And to conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines again. COVID-19 strain responsible for current outbreak in Sri Lanka confirmed as UK variant. Punishment will be given for the people who violate quarantine rules. Chinese Defense Minister meets the President. Providing the second dose of COVID vaccination commences. Import of chemical fertilizer has been banned. The WHO unveils global immunization strategy to save 50 million lives by 2030. That ends this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.